the Ohio House, and he was the majority whip, so he's not the big teddy bear that he comes off to be. So, I'm not quite done yet. Oh, okay. Are we out of time? Okay. Are you on the panel? All right. We all recognize the need for proper regulations of the oil and gas industry, but the regulations also have to make sense and allow for efficient development. Chief Rick Simmers can explain what ODNR has done to make our regulations clear and transparent. No, we're halfway. Just checking.
Kathy really does a job to try to keep you on track. I know we're right at the end of this session. We'll only keep you for a couple more minutes, Kathy, I promise that. And I know we're standing between you and lunch. Just wanted to go through a couple of things. You can see, and I'm not going to go through these slides, you can read these. Our inspections are on a dramatic increase. People say you don't get out there and check these wells enough. We check them a lot. We've increased staff. In very late 2011, the Division of Oil and Gas had roughly 35 full-time equivalent employees. We've ramped up to about 120. We lost a few to industry. We're trying to ramp up to about 150, maybe even 160 employees. Rulemaking initiatives. We have a lot of rulemaking that we're going to be going through. We've gone back, we've looked at the law to see that it fits this new industry. We've modified our law a couple of times over the past 3 years, and now we're into the rulemaking process. Matt, I want to put you on the spot. Matt LaCour from Colorado. Matt has helped us immensely. Matt's one of the people that we call fairly often to say, what do we need to do? Your shale development is ahead of ours, and we don't want to be arrogant and think we know everything. We want to learn from those states that have gone before us. And we often say that Ohio had somewhat of an advantage. You know, Pennsylvania, Texas, North Dakota, Colorado, and other states had shale development many years before we did. So we wanted to learn what worked well in those states and what wouldn't work so well. Matt, would you just give a few words on the state of your play and how states cooperate to try to help one another with statute or rule development? Mike's right up here. I think this is a very important thing. This is one of the focuses of IOGCC. This allows states an opportunity to talk with one another and to share information. Matt?
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, I'm not sure that we're that much ahead of Ohio listening to all this today. We're certainly not as far along as North Dakota's play is. Our major play is the Niobrara Shale, which is just northeast of Denver in pretty much Weld County. That play took off starting in 2008, but in 2008 we permitted about 32 horizontal wells in Colorado. Last year we permitted about 1,200, so the rate of change is breathtaking, really. We've doubled oil production. The Niobrara is an oil or liquids play. We've doubled production in Colorado of oil in the span of 2010 to 2013. Our rig count and our permitting counts are leveling off a little bit compared to those past 3 or 4 years. But we're certainly not at the harvesting stage, as Lynn termed it yesterday and this morning. We have been about as active as anyone will let us or as we want to be on the rulemaking side over the last several years. So we would trace back to 2008. Before I was the director, the commission went through a major rule modification, sort of top to bottom, including a strong emphasis on wildlife protection and environmental protection. We had a pitched battle with industry in 2008 around disclosure of chemicals in frac fluid. We solved that battle in late 2011 by adopting a disclosure rule that incorporates frac focus, a good partnership there, frac focus with that ability to use a off-the-shelf tool rather than creating your own reporting and disclosure tool, which some states have chosen to do, but frac focus made sense for Colorado. And then we've just kept going from there. We've done setback rules, groundwater rules, notification rules, spill reporting rules, all of those kinds of things. And I couldn't agree more with Rick that the opportunity here to learn from folks who have done this before instead of reinventing the wheel every single time. Every opportunity like that we get, we appreciate. We do hear, what I usually hear is, we started with Colorado's model and then made it better, but that's okay. If you start with ours and fine tune it, that's great. We appreciate that. So I've said to Rick earlier today, I'm going to come back to Ohio and sit down with him and his team. There's a event happening in Utah in a few weeks around spacing and pooling horizontal wells and how we all do that. I want to go out there and learn from that. So these are great opportunities.
Thanks, Matt. What I wanted to show is that states want to do things right. We talk to each other, we try to learn where we are doing things right so we don't have to duplicate. The states are very open and direct as well. They'll tell us if they've tried something and it didn't work, and they'll advise us not to follow that same path. This is a great benefit for us. And Matt, I don't know if you remember, but when you had your chemical disclosure and you finalized that in late 2011 and early 2012, we called you and we used yours as a model. I won't say we improved upon it, we modified it. But that allows you the advantage to develop very quickly and have things that are already tested and tried and true. Bethany, just flip through a couple of things. You don't need to go through that. States First Initiative. This is what I want to end with. A States First Initiative, which is a kind of a collaborative effort between the IOGCC, the Groundwater Protection Council, and state regulatory programs. This is a great vehicle for states to be able to get together and bring up technical or other issues that we need to put our resources together and think of best ways to resolve sometimes very, very complex problems. Sometimes they're legislative type problems, other times they're very technical problems. One of the problems that we've begun to work on with our state partners from around the country is induced seismicity. As you all read in the newspaper, seismicity has become a very big topic. It captures headlines almost every day. We had a headline just last week where some seismic activity in Ohio was portrayed in a story, and the cover picture with that story showed a fire. Had nothing to do with seismicity, but the fire picture was very dramatic, so it brought the attention to the article. So I'm going to end with States First. Matt, Lynn, Tim, and others in the room, Herschel, are all working on this. We're going to have a discussion on induced seismicity this afternoon where we can talk more about the States First Initiative. Thank you for your attention, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, Rick. And I want to make one final